Southern Europe is poorer than Northern Europe, yet everyone goes to the south of Europe to eat. Like, people eat Italian food, Spanish food, Portuguese food, Greek food. That's the famous good food. Nobody says, oh, I'm going to a German restaurant because German food is the best food in the world. I mean, some people say that, but you know what I mean. Like, it's Italy, it's France, it's Spain, it's Greece. Those are the countries that are famous, and they're in Southern Europe, and they're poorer than northern countries, which in theory have worse food. And you have to think about it, because why? Like, you have the money, but you don't have food. Why? Like, you literally have more wealth, more money, more means to make good food, and yet you're not making good food, And even on a global standard, because I'm talking about Europe specifically here, but on a global standard, like, more people go to a Mexican restaurant than to an American restaurant. I mean, people might go to an American restaurant, but they would still kind of think that, like, the Mexican restaurant is more better food, a Latino restaurant, let's say, Brazilian churrascarias, or I don't know, Vietnamese food or Thai food, but not that many people say, oh, I'm going for Norwegian food, I'm going for Danish food, I'm going for British food, I'm going for Canadian food. Like, people don't say that, even though those are the richest countries in the world. So is there something in being poorer that makes your food better? This is my question here. I think part of the reason might be like processed food, because obviously if you're like, poorer countries have less developed food chains, which means less processed food, and processed food isn't known for being high quality and like good. So if you're in a country, by definition, if you're in a country where there is a less complex food chain, then food is going to be on average less processed, and then it's going to be on average better. So that could be one of the reasons. The second reason, which I think is even a little bit stronger, is like, I don't know if you noticed, but poorer countries are also a little bit more patriotic. Like, there's a little bit more culture in them, in a way. Like, I don't know, like, well, do you think Italian culture or German culture is like stronger or more known or more passionate? Do you think Spanish culture or British culture is more passionate? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like Italy and Spain are not poor, but they're poorer than Germany or the UK or Norway or whatever. And maybe it's not patriotism, but it is a level of like cultural identity, where people are more proud of their food, and that makes them care more about the food. So that could also be it. And then also, one of the things that I think is very interesting is, obviously, people from poor countries move to rich countries more than people from rich countries move to poor countries, which means, obviously, that those people who moved, they miss their home country food, because, well, they're gonna miss their mama's food, their grandma's food, and all that. And that makes for a stronger appeal, for a stronger emphasis on getting that local food from back home, and then that creates a whole niche of, like, you go to America, but you're Italian or you're Chinese or Vietnamese, and there's a whole group, a whole niche, who really, really want that specific food from that specific place, and that kind of creates that aura and that quality of restaurants that wouldn't be like, the food gets famous because those people are everywhere. So, like, let's take Italian food. Italians are literally everywhere. They went to Argentina, to Brazil, to the US, they went to the UK, they went to Australia. They've been everywhere, and they bring Italian food with them, which makes Italian food more international, more known, and then, in a way, more recognized, I guess. I mean, this is all conjecture, so you can answer me. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you think that food from Norway and Sweden is the best food in the world. I don't know. What I'm saying is, like, stereotypically, poor countries have better food, or countries viewed as poor or poorer have better food. And I'm saying that maybe it's because of, like, less complex food chains. Maybe it's because of a more concise and nationalistic culture, and also that maybe it's because they emigrate so much, they leave the country so much, and they take that food with them all around, and then that food and that cuisine gets famous. But maybe you think it's because of another reason, or maybe you disagree. So let me know what you think in the comments below.